Happy Saturday, Yetis. As promised, I am going to go through all of the information that we talked about at the parent orientation night. Many of you were there, but I said I would make a video to go over some of that new information for parents who weren't able to make it. So this is going to, some of this stuff you're going to be like, okay, we've heard that before and we're familiar with it, but especially the later half of this presentation really dives into things that are very unique and special for this school year. Much of that information is stuff that even if you're a returning parent, yet you haven't heard before. So let's get into it. Here we go. And as I start here, I'll try to keep this quick, but I'm guessing this is probably a 20-minute presentation. So, maybe find a chunk of time that you can, set aside to listen to this. And then the other thing is I will send out a packet through a link, of all the documents and information that we handed out that night. So anyway, here we go. Okay, so our objectives are just going to be going through the key components to this experience at Snowy Peaks, especially all the things that are new for this year. I'll also talk a little bit about communication protocols, and then, feel free to contact me if you have any questions. So as always, we build this school around each individual student, and we are unapologetically, relentlessly student-centered. We believe that kids need to just in their hearts know that their teachers care about them, that they belong in this community, that the work that we do has value, that their success will grow when they work hard, and that we, the staff, aren't going to give up on our students, even when they give up on themselves. My promise to you, our parents, are that we're going to teach your whole child. It is not about a test score. It is about their character, their place in their community, their engagement with nature, as well as all of the academic learning that we do here. We're going to give your child individualized support, and we can build plans for each individual child. We're going to have a relentless focus on learning, and we believe that we should equally, as academics is about half of what we're doing, the other half is helping our students gain the skills. We call them habits of success, but the skills to be successful in today's world. And then we're going to do all of that in a relationship-based environment. Okay. So if you remember, every student is expected to follow these commitments. These are the commitments that you and your child made as part of joining this school. So it's a school of choice. You want to be here and you're willing to follow all of these expectations, that you're going to come to school 90% or better with regards to attendance. I understand that the school is for students who are seeking to become their best selves, and that they are coming here with a willingness to grow and change. Yes, we have a ton of fun at Snowy Peaks, but the fourth expectation is we commit to hard work and productivity, which means that whenever the classroom door shuts and it's time for us to engage in our learning, we are hard workers and we are producing high quality work. And that we will be community minded. And that kind of has two components to it. We're going to focus on making the school great for others. How do we leave the school better than we found it? How do we brighten the room? And then the second way is that we follow a no meanness policy, right? We have one big rule here at Snowy Peaks, which is we do not do mean behavior. So these are our commitments. And what we find as success is that students engage in their learning. They become excited about their learning. They become excited about being part of this special place to grow themselves. So my favorite Calvin and Hobbes comic here is just him getting up and feeling the drudgery of school. Nothing ever changes. It's just school, school, school. But not today. Today I go for the gusto, right? And he's gearing up for an amazing day at school, and he wants to go, and he's excited about it. And that's what we want for our families and for our students. All right, so some new things we'll get into some topics that are unique to this school year. So we've talked a little bit about orientation. We've talked about our orientation celebration at Glenwood Springs. What an amazing day. We had our Yeti meet and eat, but you can kind of look through this calendar and start to see some of the other events that we have going on. September 22nd, we're going to have our Snowy Peaks Challenge. So please set aside that day if you'd like to join us on that. We're thinking about doing a bike ride instead of a hike this year. And then again, I'll send this out to you and make sure that everybody has it, but you'll see our important dates for this school year. As always, we are committed to growing students and growing their capacity and their skills of success. So again, we will be making sure that we are both teaching and reinforcing and expecting our students to have these skills. How do we be a positive member of a team? How do we manage ourselves to be most productive and effective? How do we effectively communicate with adults? How do we effectively communicate with each other? How do we become assertive in our needs? How do we resolve problems? And how do we resolve conflict? Okay. So these are the things that we talk about a lot. So you as the parents can help us reinforce. We talk about the 6 P's. You need to be prompt, prepared, polite, have a positive mental attitude, participate, and produce high quality work. We tell them to use their skills, and this is the foundation of that. So we ask that all of our parents be aware that we have taught all of your students 4 magic words. Those are can I problem solve? And what that means is we want students to own their own lives. We want them to gain the responsibility to take ownership and to solve problems in their own lives. And then we become a resource to help them. So whenever a student walks into my office and says, "Hey, Smith, can I problem solve? I know I have class, but I have a doctor's appointment. Can you make sure that that works out for me and my teacher?" Yes, of course. So anytime a student needs to problem solve, right? Like, "Hey, I missed breakfast this morning and I'm hungry and I don't know that I can learn right now. I really need to get some food." Great. Let's make that happen, right? We want students to own their lives, take responsibility, and then advocate for themselves. So we would ask you at home to reinforce that, right? If your child comes to you and says, "Hey, can I problem solve something?" They're using their skills, they're communicating their needs, and we're going to do our best to help them meet those needs in those situations. Okay. When we talk about behavior here, is we talk about it in 3 different levels, right? So you may hear me refer to something as being like a level 2 behavior, right? And so what does that mean? So remember, level 1 behaviors are just minor disruption. We liken it to driving a car and hitting the rumble strips. Hey, you're a little off course, not a big deal. We pull it back into the middle and we keep moving, right? So in a minor disruption in class, a student is off task whenever they're supposed to be working on something. We give them a redirect and we pull it back into the center of the road and we keep going, right? We don't make big deals out of level 1 behaviors until they become patterns of behavior. Level 2 are significant behaviors. Those are kind of like you're going to get sent to Mr. Smith. All right. And so we liken that, if we're using our driving analogy, well, you just got pulled over. And, when you get pulled over, you might get a warning and you might get a ticket. And so depending on the situation and the severity of the offense, we may have to talk about level 2 behaviors. Okay. And then level 3 behaviors, that's dangerous behavior. And we don't do that here. So, if students establish a pattern of behavior where they're acting in a dangerous manner, we really would have to have a conversation about your future at Snowy Peaks. So when we talk about behaviors, we put them into 3 categories, and there they are. Okay, so whenever we see students having struggles with level 1 behaviors, how do we handle that in class? And so every teacher handles it in a universal, consistent way. We give every student 3 opportunities to practice their skills in class. So we'll let them hit the rumble strips and then redirect them to pull them back on track. Okay, we'll do that up to 3 times in a class. Anytime we address behavior, you can expect that the staff is not going to yell at your child. We are not going to get angry. We are not going to function in any mode other than, "I'm here to help you build your skills." Okay. Now, are we perfect with that? Probably not, but that is our absolute intent, and that is what we do. We want to handle, number 3, we want to handle that there's conflict, but we never want combat, right? We want to help students be better. And so our goal is to help them build their skills. We want to have a proactive approach to discipline and behavior. We want to help, we want to teach them these skills, right? And then we always give the onus to the student, right? Like, it's their issue, it's their problem. How can we help you solve your problem? "Hey, I can see you're having a hard time paying attention in class today. How can I help you solve this problem?" And the student says, "Mr. Smith, I'd really like to problem solve that. I need to go get a drink. I'm just having a hard time focusing right now, but I think if I took a walk, got a drink, came back in 5 minutes, I can sit down and get this done." Perfect. Go do that, right? So again, we're not solving the problem for the students. We're helping them solve their problems, and we are here to help. Okay. All right, so redirects in a classroom. Again, let's go back to a student who is off task and maybe on a website that they shouldn't be on whenever they're supposed to be working on an assignment or a paper, right? We're going to come up and we're going to address the behavior, but we're going to do it gently and in a positive way. I might walk up and say, "Hey, Johnny, how you doing? What's going on? Hey, can you join us today? I can see that you're a little off. Why don't you get back with us, right?" Johnny says, "Yep, my bad. We're good," right? And that's it. Right? That's rumble strips, bring it back. But if we see repeated behaviors like that, we're going to come up, we're going to redirect again. "Hey, I see that we're back on that. Can we get back on task?" Right? So a second redirect, again, rumble strips, not a big deal. The third one, if we see it a third time, we're going to say, "Hey, can we step in the hallway? I just want to have a conversation with you. Hey, Johnny, see that you're really struggling being productive today or participating in class today. What are you okay? Do you need something? How can I help you get back on task?" And again, that goes to the conversation of Johnny coming up with a solution to his problem, suggesting it to me. We give them every opportunity to solve their problem. And, that's our agreement. We'll have an agreement at the end of that conversation that the problem will solve if you do these things. And, it's only after all of that has occurred that if we have a fourth redirect in a class, then it's going to be time for them to have a change of their setting for the day. All right. So, "Hey, see that you're really still struggling with this. The hallway conversation didn't work. I'm going to need you to go see Mr. Smith. We love you. We'll see you again tomorrow." All right. They'll come to me and we'll either have them work in the Epic room or we'll be calling you to pick up your child. So that is how we handle disruption and discipline here at Snowy Peaks for level 1 behaviors. So